During his long, strange trip through the NBA, one word defined Dennis Rodman: outrageous. For 14 years, Rodman was a one-man carnival.
He's an entertainer, and we've always been taught here and I that this is a show. And you put on a show as well, try to win games, but people are paying money to be entertained. And he's very entertaining.
Why is that not taunting? Dennis has to settle down.
My wife probably described it best when she said coaching him is like going to work every day with a tornado warning. You know, where you just never know what's going to happen.
He's got 4 teammates and a coach trying to usher him off the floor.
He was a rebel that had a cause, that lost the cause, that got a cause.
Though Rodman would eventually become one of the game's most notorious rebels, he began his career by pouring all of his energy into his on-court persona, doing anything he could to spark the Pistons.
When I come on the court, I need to make things happen as far as getting loose balls, getting key rebounds, playing good defense, and try to lift my team.
Dennis was a defensive standout on 2 Pistons championship teams. He took pride in shutting down opposing scorers. In fact, the greater the star, the more he relished the challenge.
There's Jordan at 1-and-1 now. Rodman won't give an inch.
And he stopped at nothing in his relentless pursuit of victory.
Rodman looking to save. He's over the first row and press row.
I consider myself the hardest working NBA player in the league. I'm basically like James Brown.
But the NBA's James Brown eventually hit some sour notes in Motown. Despite his hustle and hard work, Rodman felt he received too little credit in Detroit. And when the Pistons dynasty began declining, Dennis was cast adrift, resurfacing in San Antonio. Traded to the Spurs in 1993, Rodman saw to it that he would no longer be overlooked. On the court, he brought his trademark defensive prowess while also leading the NBA in rebounding. But at the same time, he began to forge a new look and a new identity. Dennis drew attention with his increasingly edgy behavior. The Worm found a way to get under the skin of opponents, and even his own coach.
I remember I set him out one game. He rolled on the towel. I'm sorry, please let me play. And we beat Houston that night without him. And it was a big win. David Robinson had 45 points. And they started off Sports Center or the TV news with this sign of hope. Please let me play.
And Rodman did play with his usual intensity. While his playing style was the same, his hairstyle changed on a regular basis. With his many shades, he was literally the game's most colorful character.
When he was blonde, early, and when I had it, we won 23 out of 25 games. When he had a blue hair, we were 2-3. I told him he had to get rid of the blue hair.
Rodman for 3. Well, we told you, blondes have more fun. Especially this blonde.
But his antics began to overshadow his play, and Rodman would eventually find himself moving on once again.
I probably won't be here next year. Most likely I won't. I'm too much of a distraction, what they call distraction. Wherever I go, I'm gonna be a success no matter what. Alakazam, boom, I'm in Chicago.
As Rodman teamed up in Chicago with the NBA's #1 star, Michael Jordan, it was as if the Beatles had been joined by a 3-ring circus. Arriving on one of the biggest stages in sports, Dennis was adding new attractions to his sideshow. His flamboyance knew no bounds. Nothing seemed too outrageous. And in joining the Bulls, he had found a team that would have no trouble dealing with his outbursts.
You got it, Dennis. That's enough, man. That's enough.
The Bulls knew Dennis could provide them with the same intangibles he had brought to the champion Pistons teams, and Rodman realized he had found the ideal place to strike a bargain.
I gave the people of Chicago the ultimatum. I said, hey, if I don't come here and do a job that you expect me to do, and when the end of the season is over, give me a ticket or anything you can find to get Dennis Rodman out of Chicago, and I accept that. But if I've done my job, appreciate what I've done, accept Dennis for who he is, and give me an opportunity to stay here.
Rodman quickly showed he was ready to hold up his end of the deal. His defense, hustle, and rebounding became key ingredients in the Bulls' record-setting 1996 season. And he happily played anti-hero and counterpoint to MJ's heroics.
Besides Michael Jordan, I'm the most popular player in this league. You know, I always tell people that I'm the opposite of Michael Jordan. opposite of Michael Jordan. He's good, and I'm evil.
His role as the villain only seemed to fuel his popularity, and Rodman played it to the hilt. But what began as a strange coupling became a mutually beneficial arrangement. Dennis helped the Bulls win 3 straight titles, and in return, he received the freedom to stay in character and build his notoriety.
Chicago is world champions once more. I've always told myself I'll never, ever get married, right? I'll never ever have a wife. If I had to marry anybody, it'd be these 12 guys right here.
Though Dennis would find himself divorced from the Bulls, he left one of the game's most ironic legacies. The master of unnoticed but crucial plays on the court and off the court, sensational plays for attention.
A lot of people said I should have been this. I should have been the top 50 players in the world. It don't mean nothing to me because there's always somebody behind you a lot better than you are. And so basically what you do is try to make sure that your life is perfect or somewhat sane and just live it to that train rides out. And when that train stops and says, you know, we're here, it's time to get off and let someone else take the toll.
I think that I'm very fortunate to be here, you know, because there's a lot of other great players out there that's deserving to be here besides me. I think that it shows to the people and the coaches that the people around the world that a lot of hard work pays off. Even though I'm not a great scorer, I do all the little things that help my team win, and I think that's a real big reason why that I'm here right now. I think the most embarrassing moment for me was we won the championship, and I got up on the stage at home and just cried. And that was embarrassing right there. You know, but you know, that's just the type of person I'm real emotional, but that was embarrassing for me. I just psyched myself. I'm in a zone. You ever heard of the ozone that covers the earth or whatever? I'm in a zone. I don't know where in the hell I'm at. I'm just out there. When the coach said, number 10, Dennis Rodman, now he'll say, Warren, and boom, there I go. I don't know who I am. I'm just out in the court doing my job. You know, I don't care who that is. In my first year, I was like, Larry Bird, Jesus Christ, God, he's gonna beat me. But now it's like, I don't know who this guy is. I'm playing him like he's me. I gotta work harder. I gotta beat him before he beats me. I think we'll be considered as a great defensive team, not a great offensive team. Individuals, they might say, well, God, they had one of the greatest point guards to ever play the game, Isaiah Thomas. Then all of a sudden, here comes Joe Dumars, is one of the, you know, best sleepers that ever come out the draft, the NBA, and Lambeer. And you got a lot of guys on this team that they say, God, those guys, they really work together as a defensive team, not an offense, but they had a lot of offensive scores on their team. And I think that we'll probably go down probably the best defensive team in this era. You only have one ball. And a lot of guys want to shoot that damn ball. But I think it's a lot of hard work as far as being a unit on defense because you have to rotate, you have to know your players, you have to know what you're going to do in certain situations, and you have to convince yourself to play defense. That's the whole key. They know I'm not going to score 15, 20 points tonight, and I'm not going to go out there and do it. I don't want to do it. I want to go out there and do my job, rebound, play defense, and now spark the team in a lot of other ways. I see a lot of guys in the league, you know, not knocking them, but I see a lot of guys trying to emulate, you know, trying to beat, you know, something that they're not. You know, some guys, you see some guys pointing at the crowd that you never saw before they did in their career. You saw guys trying to get the crowd in again. You never saw that before, but all of a sudden, people used to knock me for doing that. God, he's a hot dog. I wish somebody bust his ass for that, you know, and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, people like it. They like to see a guy having a great time and enjoying what he does.